Hi guys, welcome to Murray's Secret Garden, and I thought we'd do something a little fun today. I am in what is now my greenhouse space. When we moved into this house, it was just a lean-to, and my husband framed it all in. We added this heavy-duty plastic, and then we cut some vents in it and put some screen. As you can see there, there's two on the back side and two on the front side, so there's a little bit of airflow in here. So I use this as a makeshift greenhouse. I absolutely love it. We actually took the metal roofing off and we put this polycarbonate roofing on it, and here is a little bit of what it looks like from the inside. So this is kind of my little junk space. I got my fertilizer, seed starting stuff, some almost empty bags of soil, irrigation stuff, some netting. This potting bench, he actually built me from scratch. Absolutely love it. It's a dream come true. Never thought I'd have a potting bench, and I do, and I'm super excited. And then I've got a little seed starting tray right there full of I want to put in the ground as it gets warmer, but it's been raining today. I was going to put the tomatoes that I have in there out, but it's also been on the cooler side, so I was going to hold off on doing that for another day. But what I would like to do today is, my daughter one day was searching about succulents, and she typed in "do succulents," and a lot of interesting questions popped up that people have asked online, so I thought it would be fun to go through and answer a couple of those questions. So the first question is, do succulents need a lot of light? And the general consensus of that is that yes, succulents, like a lot of plants, need at least 6 hours or more of sunlight to grow healthy and strong. And if they don't get the amount of sunlight they need, they will grow leggy and tall, and they'll stretch out trying to find the sun. And that makes for a weaker plant. And then that also means that they're not getting enough photosynthesis to build up the energy they need for strong plants and reproduction and all that stuff. So yes, succulents need at least 6 hours of light. All right, so our second question is, do succulents like to be root bound? There are a few plants that don't mind being snug inside their container, and snake plants are one of them. But we're talking about succulents, and for the most part, succulents don't want to be root bound. They don't mind being snug in their containers, but once they get root bound, there's not a lot of room for soil in a container like that. It kind of chokes them out. Their roots start tangling up, and then they're not gonna really, there's nothing to hold on to the water, so a lot of the water will just drain out of your container, and so they're not going to be able to uptake any nutrients or moisture that they need. So no, succulents do not like to be root bound. Our third question is, do succulents need water? And it seems like kind of a funny question, but if you've never really had a lot of experience with succulents, you may not know the answer to it. Plus, I mean, a lot of people think that succulents, they like to be dry. And to a degree, that's true. Succulents like to dry out between watering, but they do still need water, just like every other plant. They may not need as much as some other plants, like peace lilies. They like a lot of water. But succulents, they like to be watered, so they say you could do like a soil drench. Water it through till the water's pouring out of the hole, and then let it drain, and then don't water it again until it's dried out. That way you're not overwatering, because they don't like too much water. They just need, enough water to get through. You want to see plump leaves. If they start shriveling, that could be a sign of underwatering. Sometimes that's a sign of overwatering, and it gets kind of frustrating because sometimes it's hard to tell what actually is wrong with the plant. But that's why we have amazing people in communities that in the garden world, you can post those kind of pictures and people can help you figure out what's likely wrong with it. But yes, succulents need water. And our last question, do succulents need a drainage hole? I think, to err on the side of caution, you should always try to get something that has a drainage hole in it for any plant that you're planting. And that's just to make sure that if there's extra moisture in the water that the plant doesn't need, it has the ability to drain out. Now, if you are very meticulous and you're very careful with how you are watering, you could probably get away with putting it in a pot that doesn't have a drainage hole. But you would have to water kind of sparingly so you don't accidentally put too much water in there, and then just keep an eye on the soil and you should be fine. So those are the questions that I thought were kind of interesting. People have asked about succulents. I think this is a fun video, so I think I'll be posting something like this every now and then and just do a different topic. So I hope that was helpful to anybody who maybe had those questions or needed to hear it just as kind of like a validation to what they read online. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you guys later.